I think the Christians should do a new book. I think they should do a new canon where they take this stuff out, because you don't think it's real. This doesn't count to your religion, right? Why keep it? Hey guys, welcome to Joel Reads Bible. I'm Joel and I read the Bible so that you don't have to, and we're here continuing Leviticus. This feels like it's going to be a long book. I thought last chapter was going to be interesting. It was a bit, but I have a feeling that this one is going to be just the same old BS, which is God giving his Hebrews a lot of detail over what he expects when it comes to offerings. And they're all kind of the same. They're just killing and burning, a little bit of flour, killing and burning, a little bit of flour, killing and burning, and oil and pancakes and burning and killing. And it's just this isn't that interesting, God. Just streamline it, just have kill one type of animal, or just say kill any kind of animal, bleed it out however you want and burn it. What's the big deal? Now, of course, I wonder if some of this stuff represents something. And I do want to do a little bit of a shout out to anyone who has any sort of insight. I would be interested in a concise sort of comment here and there, maybe in previous videos and stuff like that. There's a part in one of the earlier chapters where you rip the head off of a turtle dove completely, or sometimes you rip it off and just let it dangle and pour the blood out. What's the significance? Why are we doing them a little different? Why it's so gross, and why? And why? I am curious, kind of, not enough to look into it myself. I'm reading this stuff at face value. I'm waiting for God to reveal himself through it, and I don't think I need to know what the ancient Hebrews were up to really understand it. If this is a book that's supposed to lead me to the God that's the same yesterday, today, and forever, who doesn't change his mind, yeah, I don't know if I really need to be that aware of what the cultural significance of anything is. I just need to be able to understand why God is doing whatever he's doing, right? Right? Because it's about me in modern days now, right? Right? Anyway, obviously that's not true. This is a code of a time for a people who were doing something that lots of people were doing around that time. You got to remember that Yahweh wasn't the only God that's kill and burn things. He's one of many gods that's just kill and burn, kill and burn. That's how to appease an all-powerful deity who made everything and can do anything at his whim. Again, splitting the Red Sea, right? He can do that. Sending manna from heaven. He can do that. And yet he wants a very impractical but quite human expression of fealty to him, and that is to kill and burn. To me, it's weird, but whatever. Maybe there's someone out there that's no, it makes sense because of this and that. Don't waste too much of your time, but if you have a second just to send me a few sentences, I will read them. But that being said, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and do leave me a comment that's maybe entertaining or funny or whatever. I know that these chapters don't give us a lot to talk about, but we're trying. So here we go, Leviticus chapter 7. This is the law of the trespass offering. These are laws, okay. It is most holy. They're all most holy. That's also funny. They're all most holy. That's most holy. How can they all be most holy? Doesn't that sort of diminish the whole idea of holy? You know what I mean? This is my favorite phone, but I also want to let you know this is my favorite phone. Well, which one is it? They're both my favorite phone? How is that possible? These are my favorite people. These are also my favorite people. Well, which one's your actual favorite people? They're all my favorites. Well, there's a list of things that are most holy. I guess maybe it's his top 5 or top 10. You know what I mean? There is the one on the top, and that's going to be rams, probably rams burning. That's going to be his number 1, I'm sure, because he loves the smell of burning flesh. But in the place where they kill the burnt offering, he shall kill the trespass offering and its blood he shall sprinkle around the altar. He shall offer all its fat, the fat tail, and the fat that covers the innards, and he shall take away the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the loins, and the cover on the liver with the kidneys. And the priest shall burn them on the altar for an offering made by fire to Yahweh. It is a trespass offering. Every male among the priests may eat of it. It shall be eaten in a holy place. It is most holy. He's going to burn all the fat, and then you can eat it. So they're like hoping that there's going to be some trespasses. They're like, did you oppress someone? I think, did Hezekiah oppress someone? I think you oppressed someone. He's like, I don't think I oppressed anyone. I think you did. We got to do a trespass offering because I want to eat some fat tail. As is the sin offering, so is the trespass offering. There is one law for them. The priest who makes atonement with them shall have it. The priest who offers any man's burnt offering shall have for himself the skin of the burnt offering which he has offered. Okay, why did we separate the sin offering and the trespass offering? Why did we list them differently and then say there is one law for them? Why are you forcing us to, they always repeat things. And some priest is making the atonement, you do the work, you do the atoning, you organize the thing, and you get to eat it. And they're like, yeah, nice. I'm excited about that. Every meal offering that is baked in the oven, and all that is prepared in the pan and on the griddle, shall be the priest who offers it. Great. Every meal offering mixed with oil or dry belong to all the sons of Aaron, one as well as another. So on your day off, you might go hungry. But there's a little bit of a provision there where it's like, you still get some of the pancakes, like all you get to eat it, but like the one who does the thing, that's the guy that gets to eat the other thing. By the way, anyone who touches this stuff becomes holy. It seems like everyone's going to be holy, and everything is most holy, and some things you can eat, some things you can't, anyway, whatever. I can't keep track. Somebody else can do the spreadsheet. I'm actually not even that interested. The thing about this is it's all academic at this point. Nobody's doing it. The only thing that you should be paying attention to, and then everything does become significant, is that in other chapters, we've read that this is something that's going to go on forever. So I have a feeling that if there are Levites out there, which there's bound to be, they're really dropping the ball because they should still be doing this. I don't know why they're not. I don't know, if Yahweh said that they could stop. I don't know if they believe that Yahweh is immutable the way Christians do. But if Christians want to believe this, if Christians want to believe this book, if they really want to appropriate this book for their religion, then why are they ignoring countless verses that say this is something that we do forever? Anyway, as I say, I don't care. I don't think it's true. I know that if you're a Christian watching this, you also don't care. You probably read this and zone out just as much as I do because it doesn't apply. It doesn't matter. It's insignificant. It's just words of God at a time to a certain people who don't even do this anymore. So none of us care. And yet it's still here in a book that you subscribe to for some reason. It's so silly. I think I'm pushing back right now. I'm getting kind of angry because I don't want to have to read this. It is annoying me. It is boring. Problem is that it's incredibly repetitive. And I'm trying to make fun videos for people here. And the Bible is trying to slow me down. It's trying to stop me. It's like, I can't give you another story. I have to list the same thing over and over again that doesn't even matter anymore. Please. I'm sorry for that rant. This is the law of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which one shall offer to Yahweh. All right, we're going to have to go fast there. If he offers it for thanksgiving, then he shall offer with the sacrifice of thanksgiving unleavened cakes mixed with oil, and unleavened wafers anointed with oil, and cakes mixed with oil. He shall offer his offering with the sacrifice of his peace offering for thanksgiving with cakes of leavened bread. Leavened bread? Huh. Leavened bread all of a sudden. God hating yeast, but all of a sudden there's this peace offering with leavened bread? You're showing us a little bit more of your character. You're a guy who actually likes fluffy stuff. Once in a while, yeah, you'll have it as a treat. What's the big deal? So if Paul's going to say that, hey, look, all yeast represents sin, this whole sacrifice for peace thing where there's leavened bread seems a little confusing, but okay. Look, it's God. He can be inconsistent. He doesn't have to be true to anything. There's nothing that God ever has to be true to. No claim, no prophecy, nothing he says, nothing he likes, nothing he hates. Everything can change and move, and you can build your religion on the sand. The Bible is sand. I'll speak to that when we get to that metaphor, but already, this is pretty sandy ground. Of it he shall offer one out of each offering for the heave offering to Yahweh. It shall be the priest who sprinkles the blood of the peace offering. Okay, so a specific priest who's sprinkling, he's going to do the other thing. Okay, so, if someone made a spreadsheet, this probably all does make sense. But then again, there could be contradictions. I just have not been paying close enough attention to notice them. The flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offering for the thanksgiving shall be eaten on the day of his offering. He shall not leave any of it until the morning. That's pretty consistent. We don't need stuff rotting in the camp. But if the sacrifice of his offering is a vow or a free will offering, it shall be eaten on the day that he offers his sacrifice. Still, again, same thing. On the next day, what remains of it shall be eaten. But what remains of the meat of the sacrifice on the third day shall be burned with fire. Okay, so there's a best before date for whatever this one is. If there's a vow involved, there's now some sort of and by the way, keep it refrigerated if possible. If you guys could try to keep it refrigerated, cook it first. Don't just leave raw meat out for 3 days. That's not going to be good. But and then if you can, keep it refrigerated. If any of the meat of the sacrifice of his peace offering is eaten on the third day, it will not be accepted, and it shall not be credited to him who offers it. It will be an abomination, and the soul who eats any of it will bear his iniquity. Okay, so now you're going to gain iniquity by eating things wrong. Like, that is what's happening. If you eat something incorrectly, if you put the wrong thing in, you will be guilty of iniquity, and you'll take on someone else's iniquity. Is that the iniquity of the free will, the person who's giving the free will offering or the vow offering or whatever? Like, you gain their sin. Now it's on you because you've eaten incorrectly. What kind of silly nonsense is this? If you were to suggest these ideas to a Christian today, like if you went and had a hamburger, but the hamburger was, supposed to be for an offering, but they left it out a bit too long and then you ate it. Now you are burdened with the iniquity of the person who initially offered the hamburger. Like, we're not under this anymore. We're not under this anymore. This is forever, but we're not under it anymore. It doesn't count for us anymore. Oh, right. This passage also has the language that we get from the Cain and Abel story that I brought up last time. If any of the meat is eaten on the third day, it will not be accepted. That was what God said to Cain. If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? So again, these rules that are so detailed here must have been in place back in Cain and Abel's time. We just get them now. It's the same language. It's the same thing, except those stories, they're vague and they're mythical and they're, just like fun stories, and they don't really have a lot of detail because they're not really real. But this is real. This is what people really want to do. Like, this is what they've decided they have to do for their God. And I don't think any Christian, modern day Christian, actually thinks this kind of, I'm going to call it hocus pocus. Ooh, there's the iniquity upon you who ate the wrong meat, after the third day or whatever. Like it's so silly, don't you think? No, but it represents what? What does it represent? What does it represent? What does it represent where you will literally get the iniquity of the other person on you? Like how does that work? How does the metaphor become literal, but it's also just iniquity, which is a made up, like what goes on in your head where you're doing the math on this? And even if it doesn't count now, how do you think it worked? Like, what's the logic behind it? It's all just silly nonsense, and you know it, and I know it. The meat that touches any unclean thing shall not be eaten. It shall be burned with fire. As for the meat, everyone who is clean may eat it. But the soul who eats of the meat of the sacrifice of peace offering that belongs to Yahweh, having his uncleanliness on him, that soul shall be cut off from his people. How do we know who's clean and who's not clean? By the way, have we been told who's unclean yet? By the way, I thought this was all just for the priests, but it turns out people can share of this as well, it seems. And they may be unclean. This is good. There's something new here, I think. When anyone touches any unclean thing, the uncleanliness of man or an unclean animal or any unclean abomination, and eats some of the meat of the sacrifice of peace offerings which belong to Yahweh, that soul shall be cut off from his people. So you touch an unclean man or any abomination, whatever those are, like what else? List them. So he's kind of repeating himself. You're unclean, don't eat of the meat. Make sure you're clean first, and then you can eat it if you want. But if you touch someone unclean, you become unclean animal, you become unclean, or any abomination, you're unclean, don't eat the thing. I don't know if anyone's like, if they don't want to be cut off, maybe don't risk it. What makes you categorically unclean? That's what I'm curious about at this point. Yahweh spoke to Moses saying, speak to the children of Israel saying, when people say this is a game of telephone, Yahweh spoke to Moses saying, speak to the children of Israel saying, you shall eat no fat of bull or sheep or goat. The fat of that which dies of itself and the fat of that which is torn of animals may be used for any other service, but you shall in no way eat of it. For whoever eats the fat of the animal which men offer as an offering made by fire to Yahweh, even the soul who eats it shall be cut off from his people. That's the soul. Your soul is eating the fat now. It's not just your body, it's your make-believe soul. You shall not eat any blood, whether it is of bird or of animal, in any of your dwellings. Whoever is to eat of any blood, that soul shall be cut off from his people. I wonder, like, haggis, is haggis blood? Or is it black pudding in England? Anyway, somewhere in the UK, these people, if they believe in God and they're eating like black pudding, which is blood, they're going to be cut off from their people. I mean, they're not Hebrews, so maybe it doesn't count for them. We never know what counts anymore. This is going to be a forever thing. And after this paragraph, it's going to say it again. I just saw it. You still can't eat blood if you're part of this thing. Now, I think the Christians should do a new book. I think they should do a new canon where they take this stuff out because you don't think it's real. Like, this doesn't count to your religion, right? Why keep it? Why would you keep it? Why wouldn't you be like, oh, yeah, that was extra material that was necessary some other time for other people that doesn't count for us. We're Christians. We're not Hebrews. We're not ancient Hebrews. So just strike it from the Bible. This is why they always tell you to start at the New Testament. They're like, we don't even want you reading the old one. Yahweh, it's very hard to get yourself away from Yahweh, right? And because the Christians kind of need Yahweh for Jesus, but they don't really want anything that Yahweh said as part of their thing. So it's just very complicated, very confusing, mainly because it's all made up and nonsense. Yahweh spoke to Moses saying, speak to the children of Israel saying, he who offers the sacrifice of peace offering to Yahweh shall bring his offering to Yahweh out of the sacrifice of his peace offerings. With his own hands he shall bring the offering of Yahweh made by fire. He shall bring the fat with the breast, that the breast may be waved for a wave offering before Yahweh. The priest shall burn the fat on the altar, but the breast shall be Aaron's and his sons. This is repetition. We know this. But whatever. The right thigh you shall give to the priest for a heave offering out of the sacrifices of your peace offerings. He among the sons of Aaron who offers the blood of the peace offering and the fat shall have the right thigh for a portion. For the waved breast and the heaved thigh I have taken from the children of Israel out of the sacrifices of their peace offering, and have given them to Aaron the priest and to his sons as their portion forever. Did you hear that? Forever. This is the consecrated portion of Aaron and the consecrated portion of his sons out of the offerings of Yahweh made by fire in the day when he presented them to minister to Yahweh in the priest's office, which Yahweh commanded to be given them of the children of Israel in the day that he anointed them as their portion forever throughout their generations. This is the law of the burnt offering, the meal offering, the sin offering, the trespass offering, the consecration, and the sacrifice of the peace offerings, which Yahweh commanded Moses in Mount Sinai in the day that he commanded the children of Israel to offer their offerings to Yahweh in the wilderness of Sinai. Forever and ever. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Guys, I have a feeling that this is the last one of these offerings. I think maybe in the next chapter we won't be hearing about offerings again. Like maybe in the next chapter we'll be on to something else, new laws, new interesting things, because this seems to be closing this portion. It's like, these are the way we're going to do that. How many more ways can he say it? He's already said it 17 times, or 7 times 7, 49 times. Anyway, he said it a lot. I'm excited for chapter 8, but we're going to leave it there. We got through it, okay? We now know, basically, you can listen back, how to kill things. Great, thanks, Yahweh. But anyway, we'll see you next time for chapter 8, and who knows, it might be something completely different that's interesting. Let's hope, let's pray. Let's not pray, that's a waste of time. But thank you for joining me. Please subscribe and like the video and comment. If you haven't subscribed, you're out of your mind. So hopefully you do that. I would be surprised. Somebody hasn't subscribed and they just watched this all the way through. That can't be true. Like, I wouldn't believe that. If somebody comments like, I hadn't subscribed and I watched this full video, I'd be like, okay, why? But anyway, subscribe and we'll see you next time. Bye.